Alright, so now we're looking at the lumbar region of the vertebral column. Here we've got L1 through L5. Take a look at one vertebrae, and then we can look comparatively at the two regions before that. Alright, so the first thing that should be obvious is that the body of the lumbar vertebrae is now much larger, right? Even than the thoracic region, which we just looked at. Also notice just general shape is going to look different. The spinous processes are now sticking almost directly posterior. We still have transverse processes, but they're becoming less prominent. They're shorter, stouter. Still have superior articular processes with superior articular facets and inferior articular processes and inferior articular facets. Still have a basic pedicle, a little bony bridge between body and transverse process. Still lamina between transverse process and spinous process. And then we'd still have that same vertebral arch and vertebral foramen. It's important to note that only the thoracic region, not this lumbar region which we're looking at, articulate with the ribs. So there will be no demifacets on any of the lumbar vertebrae. Okay, let's take a look at this region real quick. If we put this all together, look at the back, or the posterior view, and notice how the superior articular process wraps its way around the inferior articular processes of the vertebrae above. So that's going to give a little bit more stability, but it's going to resist rotational motion. Right? There'll be limited mobility because of this feature. And then the last thing we want to do is just compare the vertebrae from cervical region, thoracic region, and lumbar region. So here we have C4, T4, and L4. If we were going to give them kind of an animal characteristic or an animal shape, the cervical region with the bifurcated spinous process would be the stingray. The thoracic region with the spinous process that points inferiorly and posteriorly would be our anteater with its long nose, nice erect ears. And then the lumbar vertebrae, this would be our moose. So we've got a big wide spinous process like the wide nose of a moose, and then we get something that looks a little bit more like antlers from the transverse processes.